Radio Raheem here with Lou Dibella. You had a fantastic night, man. This card was entertaining.
It was an entertaining card. It was like a lot of fun. The whole show was a lot of fun. I think that Japanese kid came and gave Lipinets all he could take. Sean got hurt, but Granados had balls of steel. I mean, I thought he tried real hard. He gave what he had. It was a fun fight. It was entertaining, and I think the adversity Sean had to go through was entertaining. Someone said the ring walk was longer than the fight, but having 50 walk him in the ring was pretty cool. And then that was a devastating but brief performance. I mean, it was he made a statement, but it's a statement that I've said to you, Raheem, many times, and I've said to anybody that'll listen. This is the hardest punching heavyweight on the planet. This is the hardest jabbing heavyweight on the planet. This is the most dangerous heavyweight on the planet. AJ's a great young fighter, but this guy's his worst nightmare. And Eddie knows that. And I'm not hating Eddie for not wanting to make the fight right now, but just come at it honestly, Eddie. Come on, just say, my guy ain't ready. I need a couple more big paydays in the UK. I don't want to do it right now. I don't want to get AJ knocked off right now. I want to wait. And you know what? It's business. It's prize fighting, and he has some more prizes he can take in the UK. Respect. AJ's a superstar. They did 70,000 people with Carlos Takam. But if you want to make the fight that everyone wants to see on both sides of the pond, you make this fight right now. It's the two best heavyweights on the planet.
Obviously, this discussion of who goes where to fight whom.
It's all about the money. I mean, look, you can't. There's not. You're not going to go to an 80,000 seat stadium in Vegas. There isn't one that you would go to in the heat and everything else. But you can probably get more money out of a 20,000 seat room in Las Vegas with the whole world traveling to Vegas as a destination than you can at a soccer stadium in the UK. Now, that being said, if it is prize fighting, so if the giant prize was there and there was more money there to go to the UK and fight it in a soccer stadium, then Deontay's already proven his willingness to be a road warrior. And Shelley said it earlier, we're open to discussing wherever would be the right venue based upon the right economic deal. But right now, these guys are on the same course. One guy fought a mandatory last week. One guy fought a mandatory tonight, and they both won. Neither one of them got hurt. What's the obstacle? Eddie Hearn. Let's make a deal.
I would believe Eddie would probably say, as he said to me, that they need to build the fight. Each fighter needs one fight to build to a climax of the two fighters coming together. And, do you think that a performance like this, a first-round knockout, serves that purpose, or does Deontay maybe need one more big show, get Josh one more big show, and build to a fight like this?
I got to tell you, I think that it'd be a huge fight now. But at the same time, I mean, but I hear weird things coming out of them. The Takam fight didn't do any big rating here, on TV. And that's not, AJ's a superstar in Europe. He's a superstar in Great Britain, huge gold medalist. I mean, I take nothing away from his star power. It's enormous. I mean, his fights are spectacles over there. But he's not a known commodity right now over here. He hasn't fought here. But I just recently heard him say he's in no rush to fight here. Yeah. So, if we're talking about making it bigger and he's in no rush to fight here, well, maybe he's got a little responsibility. Everyone's got to try to make it bigger. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, look, I mean, it's probably going to ruminate for a little while. I don't think, I heard, during the Q&As, a couple of writers said, well, we're not expecting to see it next. You're not going to see it next. We probably know we're not going to see it next. But I am asking Eddie, I'm asking the question, why not? Why not? And just come at it honestly. Your guy needs some more polishing. He's a young kid. He needs some more experience. Look, he hasn't had 37 fights like Deontay. And with all due respect to his record, he does have that defining victory against Klitschko. I believe had Deontay been given the chance, he would have done it just as emphatically. I don't think that there's anything better about the rest of AJ's record than there is about Deontay's record. And to be honest, the top of the division is not chock full of big names. So, I mean, these guys could both go on probably and ad infinitum knocking other people out or beating guys up. Who really wants to see that?
You and Eddie Hearn have gone back and forth in public.
But part of it is good.
I get that, but the question is, do you have a relationship now? Do you get on the phone with him in the morning? Do you get on the phone with him Monday and hey, let's hammer this out? Where you at with this thing? Or do you have that kind of relationship where you can talk it out and maybe make something happen? Or are the battle lines already drawn?
Well, I mean, it's not bad. There are no battle lines drawn. Eddie knows my number. I know Eddie's number. We can talk. Eddie also, Deontay's got strong management. He's got Shelley Finkel, Al Heyman involved. I mean, there's people talking fights all the time and talking business all the time. So there's no shortage of lines of communication. You know what I mean? This wouldn't be the hardest deal to make, whether we made it next or whether we made it a year from now or a year and a half from now. I think that we're a little bit of a different situation in the following way. Deontay can be, I believe, a transcendent heavyweight champion. I believe that. I believe he can be a huge superstar in America and in the entire world. There's one route to it, in my mind, and that's Anthony Joshua. And right now, Anthony Joshua's already, making Eddie shitloads of money, selling out stadiums. There are other fights out there. Hey, I like Tyson Fury as a person. I hung out with him here in Brooklyn one night, and I really enjoyed him. I hear he's on the road to getting himself together. That's a huge plus to the division. Let's face reality. You could argue that he beat Klitschko more easily than Joshua did. So if Tyson gets back into the picture, you got Fury, you got Deontay, you got AJ, you got three superstars, and it creates more opportunity. So, but we right now we want that defining fight for Deontay, and honestly, Joe Parker, is that a defining fight? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a unification
right,
fight.
That's what we want the belts on.
But really, the fight that turns Deontay Wilder into the kind of star that he wants to be is Anthony Joshua. And Eddie's going to make a reasoned business decision. They're going to, you really got to go and ask them the question, because they're going to be ready for the fight when they believe it makes dollars and cents.
You say this is a good thing for boxing. I think everybody would agree that fight is definitely good for boxing, no matter who wins, at least in the fans' eyes. But there's one other thing that Eddie Hearn has proclaimed that he intends to do in 2018, and that is begin the takeover of boxing as a whole in America.
Well, I think he has a fight. Is it next week?
Next week, okay, 6 days from now, being Sunday now.
Okay, so go to the arena and you tell me after the fight whether Eddie took over boxing in New York. Forget about America. Go to the fight and tell me after the fight whether Eddie took over boxing. Let me tell you something, man. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you. First of all, I'm not allowed to get licensed in Great Britain to be a promoter under the law presently over there. But that being said, I wouldn't tell you that I could go to Great Britain and be the biggest promoter in London. And I wouldn't tell you that I could live in Brooklyn or live in the New York area and go to L.A. and be the biggest promoter in L.A. And Eddie Hearn certainly can't, from his ivory tower in the UK, become the biggest promoter in the United States.
Why not?
For what, man? Who? Why? What reason? Dude, you gotta know your audience. You gotta know where you're from. You gotta know who your people are. You gotta know what you're selling. Eddie should go back to prep school and study New York and Brooklyn and if he wants to come over here and he thinks he's going to take it over. I mean, I wish him well. I did. You know what, man? Competition's not a horrible thing. Who cares? I mean, there's been promoters come and go all the time. The guy's he has a near monopoly, basic monopoly on Sky TV in the UK. I mean, he has a lot of economic power in boxing in the UK. Is that going to translate to him becoming a major force in American boxing? I doubt it, but let him prove it. Let's see what happens next weekend, man. He's got an opportunity to prove it.
Do you think the situation over there, like you call it, basic monopoly, Sky Sports and all this, is better for boxing to have a situation like that, or to have promoters like we have here, a bunch of them fighting, not willing to work with each other, and this kind of thing?
But to some extent, you have it over there too. I mean, there's some of that. I want to tell you something, man. We invite, and again, we've had this conversation before, and I'm not against it. I'm not a build and wall guy. I'm not a Trump guy. I'm a liberal friggin' Democrat from New York. Okay, but we don't support our own fighters the way other countries support their own fighters. That's just the fact. And we open our doors and make stars out of guys from all over the world, and they ain't doing that in the UK. They're not, I mean, for the most part, they're not bringing our best guys over there to fight their guys. And they're certainly not bringing our average guys over there who would beat the hell out of their average guys. They're doing stuff that makes sense for them in their mind in terms of a TV model to make fights between the guy from Liverpool fighting the guy from London, the guy from, you know, wherever fighting the guy from wherever for UK belt, a Commonwealth belt, this belt, that, you know, whatever. And they support their fighters with an incredible fervor. You would never have an outcry from a country, sports fans, like about an average or like, you know, just an ordinary heavyweight. Like you're not going to see American boxing fans rally behind. You know, Eddie Hearn says, "Why don't you fight Dillian White?" And then there's you know, social media goes crazy with UK boxing fans raving about a guy that bored me to death last weekend, and I saw Derek Chisora almost beat. So like I mean, you wouldn't see the American fans like picking out a random top 10 heavyweight and screaming and yelling that Anthony Joshua's got to come to America and fight this guy. Anthony Joshua's got to come to America and fight whoever before he can fight, you know, Deontay. That wouldn't happen here. But like, look, the UK fans are tremendous. They got a tremendous fan base. They got a tremendous fervor for boxing over there. I think that's great for the sport on a worldwide basis. I believe Anthony Joshua's a proud young kid, and he's a fighter that will learn from his fights. I don't think he had the greatest fight on earth against the Khan, but I really believe that there's stuff. If he watches that fight, he's going to be a better fighter the next fight. And maybe Eddie, you know, Eddie's not a stupid guy. Maybe Eddie wants this kid to have 2 or 3 more fights where he hones his game a little bit more before he gets in the ring with a guy who's as dangerous as Deontay.
Radio Raheem with Lou Dibella. Listen, people, I agree that boxing fans all over the world should support their fighters. Not like you have to be a Trump guy, as you say. You don't have to be a nationalist, but you do have to be a true boxing fan. And if you like these fights, tonight we had a great card. Support the guys on the undercard. Show up, buy your pay-per-view, buy your tickets. Come watch these guys build, and then we can make fights all over the world. Everybody brings it.
I actually think tonight was an important night for Deontay. I mean, like, you know, not that Stavern was King Kong or you know, the one of the best heavyweights on the planet, but he had no choice. He had to fight this fight tonight, and he had to fight it under circumstances that probably psychologically, in terms of like as a human being, weren't the easiest circumstances. You're preparing for a career-defining fight. Instead, you get a guy that you already beat the shit out of once, and you know, you have to fight him again. And by the way, if you don't knock him out, you really don't look good.
All right. Well, you look good tonight.
He did what he had to do. I think you're going to find that tonight it may be a turning point for Deontay Wilder in his own country. I really believe that.
That's right. And let's hope it's a turning point for boxing fans in America. Thank you for the time. Radio Raheem with Lou Dibella.